Good evening, everyone. Annually, we do a tribute to women in our community. And before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge the presence of County Legislator Jewel Williams. But there's another name, there's a hyphen to that. Please forgive me.
Johnson.
Oh, Jewel Williams Johnson. Thank you for being here, Jewel. And I'd also like to thank Dee Flynn, who is a resident of the town of Greenburgh, for presenting me with a bouquet of roses this evening. And she said, thank you for all that you do. Greatly appreciate that acknowledgement and that gift. Thank you so much. So we have four honorees this evening. And I'm going to begin. I'm just going to acknowledge everyone in alphabetical order. Felicia Barber, who is sitting up front, born in New York City and raised in Hartsdale, town of Greenburgh. Felicia graduated from Ardsley High School and received a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Graphic Design from Edinburgh University in Pennsylvania. She has done graphic design work for Edinburgh Physical Education Department, Greenburgh Hebrew Center, and she was once a Greenburgh Town Hall intern, and soon after became employed by the town of Greenburgh as an assistant town historian. Felicia has extraordinary skills in graphic design, including Adobe graphic design applications, Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. She has applied those skills to working here with the town of Greenburgh on several events, including Greenburgh Compost Project, a Veterans Project, and road legislation. She has also done amazing work with the Odell House Restoration Project. Since 2018, Felicia has been illustrating the weekly Slice of History blog as assistant town historian. So, Felicia, on behalf of Paul Feiner, Town Supervisor, Town Council members, Ellen Hendricks, Gina Jackson, Ken Jones, Francis Sheehan, and Greenburgh Town Clerk Judith Beville, we acknowledge with appreciation Felicia Barber for her commitment, contributions, dedication, and leadership in helping to improve the quality of life for others in the town of Greenburgh, County of Westchester, State of New York. In acknowledgement and celebration of Women's History Month on this 23rd day of March in the year 2022. This is good. Really great.
Yeah. I who said, can you do it? Love you.
You're certainly welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yay, Felicia.
Thank you for all you do.
And we have to mention Riley is her partner in crime, and also does an amazing job writing and preparing the weekly historical posts, while Felicia focuses on the illustrations and the visuals, but both of them are an exceptional team.
Do a phenomenal job. We really appreciate the effort and the quality of your product. Can't be beat.
Our next,
For the team.
our
And
next
they're
on,
engaged.
and they're engaged, yes.
Wow.
Yay. Congratulations, you guys.
Congratulations.
Our next honoree, Alicia Ford, born and raised in Harlem, the neighborhood of historic, cultural, and medical centers. The Schomburg Center for African American History and Research. The Harlem YMCA has been in existence for over 100 years. And Harlem Hospital, once the only medical training ground for African Americans in a vast region, geographical region. Alicia grew up in Harlem, and growing up in Harlem introduced her to community involvement. She grew up during a period when the Black Panthers, the Black Liberation Army, the Black Muslims, the Israelites, street ministers, and as she says, wannabe ministers would be out on the street corner schooling us young folk, as they called it, about injustices to our people. Alicia Pickett handed out flyers and marched during protests in the streets of Harlem in the late 60s and early 70s, sporting our afros, as she says, bell bottoms and dashikis. We were young, barely teens, wide-eyed and understanding little, but paying attention to the speeches that we heard. During those years of unrest, there was a lot of killing of young Black and brown innocent children with no accountability by the hands of police officers, thus lots of rallies and marching. It didn't resonate, she says, until she got older. Alicia relocated to the Bronx in 1975 and later moved to Parkway Homes in 1988, where she became engaged in civic issues. Married and the mom of 3 adult children, she is a 20-year member of Union Baptist Church, where Reverend Dr. Vernon D. Williams, who is very active in civic efforts and initiatives here in the town of Greenburgh. As a member, Alicia helps out with the Food for Life ministry. Every week, she serves between 250 and 300 dinners to local shelters, seniors, the sick or shut in, as well as walk-ins. Alicia retired. Now, this is something that I think is really, in addition to your whole story, this is really significant due to the fact that the town of Greenburgh is now looking at very deeply digging its nails into affordable housing issues, where I think you can be a valuable resource. I know you're retired. Judy, please don't call me back in the service. Alicia retired from the City of New York Department of Housing Preservation and Development, HPD, in January of 2021, after 40 years of dedicated service to helping New Yorkers achieve fair housing. She worked in many departments during her tenure, including but not limited to the Central Sales Unit Auction Program, which included the Harlem Sealed Bid in 1986, as well as her latter position as a compliance analyst in the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit and Home Compliance Unit, ensuring that property owners, developers, or management companies adhere to the federal, state, and HUD guidelines for prospective tenants with regards to income, rent, household size, etc., for very low, and moderate income tenants. Alicia loved helping her fellow New Yorkers with housing concerns as she realized how important it was for clients to get the assistance that they needed. For the past 7 years, Alicia has been the president of the Parkway Home Civic Association, where she keeps the community well-informed with information regarding upcoming events and messages from our town supervisor and any other information of importance. Gina, I look at the town board, the dais, and I just want to thank you and Paul for being the only ones whose eyes are looking forward, acknowledging what's being said about the honorees. Thank you. Alicia, please come forward. On behalf of the town of Greenburgh, Paul Finer, town supervisor, and town council members, Ellen Hendricks, Gina Jackson, Ken Jones, Francis Sheehan, and Greenburgh Town Clerk Judith Beville, we acknowledge with appreciation Alicia Ford for her commitment, contributions, dedication, and leadership in helping improve the quality of life for others in the town of Greenburgh, County of Westchester, State of New York. An acknowledgement and celebration of Women's History Month on this 23rd day of March in the year 2022. Congratulations.
I want to thank you, Paul Finer, Judith Beville, for that wonderful bio. There's a whole lot more between that Harlem story, but anyway, and the town board and everyone assembled, my family, friends, my hubby Wayne Penn, my daughter Alexis Penn, my brother Ramon Frank, my friend Demetria Flint, who's 100% behind me for everything all the time, and I really appreciate you and your sister and whoever's home watching, all of my community members. I'd like to thank you for honoring me, bestowing this presentation on me for Women's History Month. As you heard my short bio of my life, it's so much more than that. I am committed to ensuring in my civic duty that we maintain, preserve the rich history of Parkway Homes community, to promote civic pride, to be concerned with the welfare of each family in Parkway Homes, to do all things necessary and desirable to preserve and enhance the physical and aesthetic qualities of the Parkway Homes community, identity, unity, and neighborly feelings. Seeking enforcement of the state and town laws and regulations, including building and zoning laws, when necessary, to preserve the qualities of our life in our area. Parkway Homes is a diverse and inclusive community. We have welcomed residents from diverse and culturally different backgrounds. We have proven that we can all live together in peace and harmony. I want to say thank you. I will stay diligent and strive to make this community a better place for all. Our Parkway Homes main goal is the motivation of the Parkway Homes Civic Association has been to maintain a community in which we are proud to live and support and encourage our young people in their educational endeavors. Again, I thank you. God bless you. Have a good evening.
And I just want to thank you for being a model citizen. You're really a role model in the community. You've always been very constructive, and you've really made a very, very positive difference in the lives of many people. And I wish if there were a possibility of cloning 90,000 people, I'd like to have 90,000 Alicia Fords in the town of Greenburgh.
Oh, thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that. I mean, we go back to 1990 when we started with that Alfredo nursery. And I've seen many commissioners, many town members, and I will continue to be active and adamant, and the struggle continues.
Thank you.
And you certainly know our email addresses and use it. Really good.
But, I think what makes you, so terrific is you have like positive energy. You've always been very constructive. And even when you disagree, it's always done in a very respectful manner. And you could disagree, and because you're so constructive, and because everybody respects you so much, I think you have so much influence.
And as a member and officer of the neighboring Parkway Gardens Civic Association, I have to say what a pleasure it is to work with you when we have worked together. And I look forward to keeping on working with you, because together we make our community better.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's great.
Fire commissioner for over 30 years. Community activist for over 30 years. Married for 55 years. A graduate of Greenburgh Public Schools and Westchester Community College, serving on the Theater de Young Community Center Advisory Board for countless years. A lifelong resident of the town of Greenburgh, Fairview community, currently the interim site director and personnel director of the Greenburgh Neighborhood Health Center, Vicky Simmons. Please come forward, Vicky. So Vicky, the town of Greenburgh, Paul J. Finer, town supervisor, town council members, Ellen Hendricks, Gina Jackson, Ken Jones, Francis Sheehan, and Greenburgh Town Clerk Judith Beville, acknowledge with appreciation Victoria Simmons for her commitment, contributions, dedication, and leadership in helping to improve the quality of life for others in the town of Greenburgh, county of Westchester, and state of New York, in acknowledgement and celebration of Women's History Month on this 23rd day of March in the year 2022. Congratulations, Vicky.
Thank you very much for the recognition. I just have to make one correction. My name is not Victoria, it's Vicky. That's all there is. I want to tell you a funny story that when I was in junior high school, I had a teacher who would not accept that my name was Vicky. And he changed my report card and all of my school records to say Victoria, because he said that Vicky wasn't a real name, it was only a nickname. Well, when I brought my report card home, my mother marched right back up to that school and said, you changed these records back. At some time, she might have to prove that she's been to this school and we have to have the right name here. So
That's great.
I love the name Victoria. I would have liked to have had the name Victoria, but I didn't get it. So I thank you all for the recognition and for honoring and the other honorees that are here tonight. And I'm just hoping that we can encourage younger people to be involved, because there are many of us who are getting older and we need to have someone to take our places. So all of you young people who are in the town of Greenburgh, please consider getting involved in whatever areas in the town of Greenburgh that you can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And, I'd just like to thank you for your efforts at the Greenburgh Health Center. You've been doing an amazing job getting people vaccines, the COVID tests, the boosters. You very innovative. The health center is trying to get a grant to provide house calls to the senior citizen population that can't get to the health center. And, I feel thanks to your leadership, the health center really has become just an amazing, not-for-profit organization that has really made a major difference, positive difference in the lives of, of many people. And you serve a lot of a population that's poor, that needs the help. Instead of just talking about ways of helping those who, need help, you're actually delivering and doing an amazing job. Last year, you set up a cupboard where people who are hungry could get. You were working with students who could get a food at the entrance of the health center. I mean, you're just really doing more than a remarkable job.
I just want to say, Vikki, having worked with you on various boards and being your neighbor in Parkway Gardens, you are truly a pillar of the community. And I really appreciate, the community really appreciates all that you do for it every day. As I said before, we are a better community because people like you live here and we all work together to keep it strong. Thank you so much.
Also, I just want to add, anyone who knows you, when you agree to serve on a committee, you give it your all. You do your homework. You bring a lot of value to everything you do. And it's really what has really made, I know you basically through the, Fairview Fire Department and the commissioner there and, my family affiliation with that. And the respect that you have earned because you use your common sense with your knowledge of the community, the wants of the community, the needs of the community, and you deliver. And so whatever you're doing, I have no doubt that it'll be a success. And now at the health center, they couldn't have somebody better.
Our fourth honoree, Judith M Watson, is not here with us. I know that she made every effort to be here because she confirmed that she would be here. However, and I will not do the entire tribute. However, something that Vikki just said about the importance of involving young people really resonates in Judith's philosophy as well. She came on board in the town of Greenburgh in 1994 as a nurse, as a registered nurse, and only 8 years later, she was appointed executive director of the Greenburgh Neighborhood Health Center. And she credits her leadership development and achieving her goals to Carol Morris, who was at that time, when she first came on board 30 years ago, who was the chief executive officer of the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center network, where Judith is now. So tell me that mentoring does not make a difference. It certainly does. Judith, through hard work and compassion for healthcare rights, a nurse transforms from on staff to in charge. And that's what it says at the top of an article on Judith that is online. So I'm sure she would have been here. Something must have come up, But ladies and gentlemen, our fourth honoree is Judith Watson, CEO of the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center, of which our Greenburgh Neighborhood Health Center is a part. So let's please acknowledge her. Thank you. This
Great.
completes our tribute, Women's History Month tribute to our four awesome recipients. Thank you.
Great. So next,